Good afternoon. Welcome to Real American Variety. And today I have my first guest. This is Ken Carson. I met
Hi.
him on TikTok. Tell everybody your TikTok handle.
Hi guys, my TikTok is I am Ken Carson, and that was one of many TikToks I've had that's been banned multiple times, but that is the one I have currently.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been following Ken probably since his first account
2020, I
for
believe.
quite some
Yeah,
time.
2020.
Yeah. I think we probably, I mean, I joined in the pandemic. I don't know when you joined, but
Yeah, it was the pandemic. I was against TikTok beforehand. I was like, I'm never
so
making
was
a TikTok. Yeah.
I thought it was for kids. So I was like,
Yeah,
this
I
is
did too.
silly.
And then I was like,
Why am I on
oh,
this? Yeah.
exactly. And
So
then I saw it was
I
not for kids.
yeah. Well, I mean, it became like every other social media
Yeah,
app, the adults take it over. But
exactly.
I'd been watching his content for quite some time. He does a lot of well, funny content, and a lot of the content is kind of conservative content. So I really, really wanted to have him on the podcast first because there's so much going on right now with the trans agenda, whether you sit on the right or the left when it comes to how you feel about it. I wanted to go straight to the source, somebody that's a member of the LGB community, and really talk about questions that have been burning on my heart that I want to know straight from somebody who is really in the community because I only know as an outsider. So, that being said, why don't you first just kind of give us a little brief like lead in, tell us like what would you want everybody to know about you?
Like overall, or as like a conservative?
Just overall, not like life story, but like what's going on with you right now? Something that's important that like you would want people to know about you.
You know, one thing about me is I've always been a person of truth, someone that always wants to have the facts, the statistics, the knowledge. And I feel like right now in this world, I feel like it's just, I want people to know that like it's okay to have different beliefs than other people and you don't have to attack those kind of people. You just got to stand up and educate yourself before you speak about things because I feel like right now in the world, there's a lot of miscommunication and indirect knowledge that's not true. And I think that I feel like my purpose right now is to just educate people and let them know like what you're doing is wrong. And if we don't speak up about it, it's going to continue to happen. So we have to just
Absolutely.
come together and stand up for what's right.
I totally agree. And I think we're in a place right now where speaking truth gets you in trouble.
Hmm.
And a lot of people are afraid to stand up. They've seen others get canceled, and because of that, people are being a little bit quieter than maybe they even are in their lives and their jobs when it comes to regular everyday things. But when it comes to these big polarizing topics, it seems that people are keeping their mouths shut, even if they do stand on the side of truth.
Right.
So, I just kind of first wanted to know, like, what made you decide to join TikTok? Why was that the platform that you kind of launched this truth soapbox?
Okay, so ironically, before I got on TikTok, it was 2019, and I was on vacation, and I had told everyone on Facebook and on the internet that I was going to vote for Donald Trump in 2020. Didn't think it would be a problem, did not think it was going to be this mass, huge thing that it became, but it became bad. Like, I was on vacation, and my mom was getting calls, and my old teachers, and like, people were making up horrible accusations about me and trying to get me fired from my job, and like, calling my boss, and like, going out of proportion to cancel me as a racist and a homophobe and a horrible person just because I said I like what he's doing for our country. And I wanted him to win again because I wasn't able to vote for him in 2016 because I was 15 years old. So for me, I kind of got attacked. And so in 2020, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a TikTok and I'm just going to, just talk about Trump, and I posted a video, and it was right after it was on election day. No, it was November 5th, the day after election day. I had just voted for Trump. I felt super excited. I remember I was like a little kid in a candy store, and my mom took me. It was a great day, and I made a TikTok where it was like to the right, and it repeated it multiple times, and I put Biden and Trump. And I went to the right, and I had a whole full face of makeup on. And that video, I think, got like 650,000 views right off the bat, and I got a
Uh,
lot of hate from it. But a lot of the conservative community and Republican community just started attaching and becoming so kind to me, and we became such a good family. And I think that's when I met her. It was like really short, like a couple months after I started blowing up, that she started following me, and I just made a very big family of people that supported me. And it was crazy because the Democrats for this longest time have pushed the agenda that Republicans are homophobic, but I always make into account that if that's true, why do I have all these followers? They're all conservatives. Not one of them is a Democrat. So for me, it's just showing the truth aside of what support really looks like. And I think that's why I got back on TikTok, because it's like if I don't do it, no one else will.
Wow. Okay, so was that first initial message, did you put that on Facebook? The one where you
Um,
got all the hate and
Yeah,
everybody
it was
like
just I like made my profile banner Trump 2020, and I was like
mm,
I was like Trump 2020 baby or something, and it got like thousands and like people from high school and like family, like half my, and I still love, and I love my aunt and uncle. If they see this, I love you. Please don't get mad. But for like 3 years, they didn't speak to me because I was immature and I lied because I was scared. I knew they were Democrat, and I was very scared. And I lied and said, "Oh, I voted for Biden," and they saw that TikTok of where I said I voted for Trump, and they were very upset and didn't speak to me, disowned me for about 3 years. And we've talked, and we both have agreed that what we did was immature on both ends, and we've learned that when we hang out, politics don't get brought up. But I lost a lot of my family and friends, even from years of being friends just for voting for Trump. Like my entire life changed permanently.
wow, yeah, it's so interesting too that I'm obviously a lot older than you. So I remember, and I didn't care about politics, and I remember a time where it didn't matter who you voted for. You just
Exactly.
didn't talk about politics, no big deal. But now it's kind of ingrained into everything that everyone does. It used to be like politics are downstream from culture. Now it's like politics and culture are married together. And
Exactly.
we are seeing in 2020, I really think was the first time that it started severing relationships. So that's really, really interesting. I'm really sorry that happens because I mean,
Thank
it's
you.
happened to so many, but just wow,
Yeah,
like,
so many people. And I'm very grateful that we've talked and we both realize, we're adults and we love each other, and we realize, like my mom always told me growing up that there's two things you never say at a party that could kill a party, and that's politics and religion. And I
yep.
think with that side of my family, I just let them know, like, look, I love you guys, but we gotta not talk about it. Even when I come over, they don't even put the news on because they know how I am. They respect it. And I think that if other people and most people that are not as understanding could do that, there'd be a lot less issues.
Well, I do have to say, and maybe it's bias, because I'm a conservative, you're a
Right.
conservative, but it feels as if conservatives are a little bit more able to put it aside and just not talk about it, whereas it seems that the left has gone so far left lately that they cannot handle opposition, which to me
No,
says you don't even know what you believe. You don't even stand on a
exactly.
firm enough foundation of your belief that you can't handle opposition. So that's where cancel culture kind of came in. So,
And also just the fact that everyone was bored in their house and had nothing else better to do. Because I firmly believe that if we never had quarantine, there would no, I feel like cancel culture wouldn't have been a thing. I really do think that people were just so bored and so out of their minds that they wanted to make something
mm,
of to make themselves known that they had to make it. Because I feel like 2019 it wasn't really cancel culture. I don't feel like. I feel like after
no,
quarantine it really like blew up in our country.
well, I mean, gosh, so many things did, but yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I guess there has always been like a little bit of banning books and ban this and ban that, but it wasn't, to the extent that it has been the last few years.
social
But
media is to blame for sure too.
for sure. And I do think that COVID and the lockdowns really changed because that was people's only connection. They weren't allowed to leave their house really. So I think everyone went straight to social media
Exactly.
and they just got really uh, angry. I think it was a lot of the animosity of everything that COVID did to
Yeah.
everyone dealt with it differently, but they
Yeah.
took it out on people on the internet.
And it's my hair is just doing its own little thing right now. Okay, sorry. And I think that that's something that it's upset. It's kind of sad. Because right now we're a laughing stock to every other country in the world.
Yeah, for so many reasons. So Pride Month's coming to an end,
Thank
and
God.
yeah, so basically, what does Pride mean to you? Like as
I don't
someone that's
understand.
younger in the community?
Honestly, I don't really understand when people ask me that, because I don't, for me personally, I don't really care if people support me or not. I'm living my life on my own, doing my own thing. And I think pride, like, it's okay to love yourself for being gay or lesbian or whatever. Like, it's congratulations. Like, I'm so happy for you. But at the end of the day, like, why do we need a whole month? For me personally, I just, I feel like it's just a way of people making money off of people's happiness is exactly how I look at it. I don't believe that the parade or the party or the walks or whatever, it's all part of their capitalistic way of making money off of people. They don't care. Most of these corporations, in my opinion, do not care about the LGBT. They don't care about gay people and their rights. They care about the money they're making off of those people because we're just dollar signs to them. I feel like pride is forcing down people's throats. I don't need to see rainbow. First of all, I hate the color. I don't understand it. And it's changed so much recently that it's not even rainbow anymore. It's like weird. And I'm sorry to say, like, most gay people don't want their gayness to be forced down everyone's throats because most gay people and lesbians got bullied for being gay. So we learn to do our own thing and not project it into people's faces. We do our own thing and live our life. And I feel like right now, because of pride, every company does it. And if America was so ready to support it, then why are these companies going broke? Because they're going woke. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm.
nobody's ready to support it because congratulations, you guys, we can get married. Congratulations. But it should have stopped there. Why are people still demanding, wanting more and more and more? Because eventually they're going to piss off the wrong people.
Well, and at the end of the day, respect is earned. It can't just be expected.
Exactly.
And I think for so many years, kind of just like you just said, so many gay people just wanted to be accepted and live in society like normally. It wasn't this, hey, everybody, look how crazy I can be. And not only look at it, you can't think negative of it. You have to actually accept everything. And I'm
Right.
sure the pride parades have been going on forever. But I do feel that over the last few years, they've just gotten crazier and
Yeah.
crazier and
It's
crazier.
becoming something much more than what pride truly stands for. And I honestly, to go back to that question, because I always get sidetracked, like for me, what I was told what pride was from, first coming out at 18. And that was for me personally too, like my first transgender person I ever met was my hairstylist. And she's an older trans woman, but she's not like these woke people. And she doesn't like what's going on either. She just wants to live her life. She's an amazing woman. I love her. I truly 100% believe she's a woman. She doesn't ever force it down my throat. She is, I just, like, if you met her and saw her, you would be like, wow. And she does the amazing hair. She's been doing my hair for like 5 years. I love her with all of my heart. And she's a trans woman. And I've asked her questions and she's nicely explained it to me. She's talked to me about, what's going on isn't really what she wants. She just wants to live her life, do her hair, make her money, and travel. Like, that's what she wants. She doesn't care about this political propaganda of what's going on. But for me personally, learning from 18 and up, like haven't really been in the gay community that long. But for me, learning at like 18, I've always thought Pride was supposed to be just celebrating us being who we are and just loving each other and being able to accept people that are different from everybody else or what society is considered normal. But now it's turned into who can wear the least amount of clothes and wear leashes and do this weird like stuff that I don't think should be a part of the LGBT. And I'm personally on going off of that too. The LGBT should be LGB. Lesbians, gay people, bisexual, and pansexual people are all people that are identifying with the sexual identity of being attracted to the opposite or the same sex. Transgender is an ideology of changing your gender, which has nothing to do with sex. It has to do with changing your gender. That has nothing to do with the like sexuality. So why is it a part of the LGB? I've never understood that. And I don't know, I know people are going to get mad at me saying that, but that's just the facts of it. Lesbians and gays and bisexual people, we are attracted to same sex or both of the sexes. Transgenders are changing in a whole life. They're completely changing their entire lifestyle. Sorry.
Okay. No, no, thank you. You actually segued perfectly into my next question because I think even in this like experience you and I think I've said LGB because I generally tend to like just kind of shorten it because I feel very similarly, but I'm not in the community, so it's not really maybe fair for me to make that assessment. So my next
Right.
question was, do you feel that the trans movement has divided the community? How and why?
I definitely do. I've definitely also just being a feminine gay person because I'm extra feminine. I've been asked a lot more since it's been going on. Like, hey, like, are you trans? Like, if people come up to me in public, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, anyways, so for me, I do think that it's caused a bunch of hatred towards the lesbians and the gays and the bis, for sure. Because now people that you were comfortable being, like, for example, lesbians that are more masculine. Now people are like, are you trans? And they're like, no, I'm just a masculine woman that wants to have shaved hair. It doesn't mean I'm trying to be a man. And now you have feminine gay people like me that wear makeup like, oh, you're trying to be a woman, you're trans. All because of what's been going on. And I think, the whole trans stuff, it's not I've asked people from the 80s this, and it's always the same thing. It used to be like, people, you do you, as long as, whatever you do behind closed doors, that's your business. We're going to stay out of it. Now it's like everyone wants to know what's going on. Like there's a camera recording what's going on. And it's like, dude, it's no one's business. I always tell people, if, if you want to be trans, that's fine. Just keep it out of me. Don't force it down our throat, because that's America. That's why America is upset. That's why Bud Light went down the way it did, because you
Mhm.
cannot force something that new into a bunch of people, millions of people that have been living their way of life for millions, like hundreds of years. You can't do that. Most Americans are about science, because when they were in school, when they were in college, when they went to science class, there was male and female. There wasn't this male, female, he, she, it, they, what. I don't understand it. No one understands it. So why should we have to support this idiot? Is it idiocracy? Is that the word?
Yeah,
I think
Idiocracy.
so.
It's a
Okay.
movie I've not seen, but I've been told I need to
Oh,
watch it.
well, it's weird, and I'm sorry. I don't. It's and the kids, man. These kids. We have to protect the children. These trans people they don't. And I just saw a video. We are coming for your children. Did you not see that Pride Parade where they're literally chanting, "They're coming for your children" in
Yeah.
San Francisco or something? That
I
scares
heard
me.
about it, but I didn't see it, but
It scares me.
it's getting so much more extreme. But I wanted to go back to one thing that you said earlier, because this is one of
Hmm.
the questions I've been really, really trying to figure out. But what's wrong with masculine lesbians or feminine gays? Like, when did it come like there we were at a place in time where I feel like being gay, whether you're gay or lesbian, was pretty darn accepted,
It was
barely even
100%.
batted an eye, in the
Yeah,
sense
exactly.
that I mean, I'm sure maybe like your hardcore Christians or Muslims or something that it
Right.
was really against their religion. They maybe, but I don't think they'd start screaming at you in the street. They'd just
Oh,
pray for you
absolutely not.
somewhere.
Yeah, most people,
But
because they're respectful.
exactly. But we've come to this place now where, um, so everybody's talking about the fact that women feel like this whole trans movement is kind of erasing women. But I had this thought one day. I made a video about it. I don't know how well it did, but I was like, I don't think this is just an erasure of women. I feel like this is an erasure of gay people as well, in the sense that maybe there's some kids struggling with coming out, which to me is baffling, because with it being so accepted, why? But I'm not there. That's not my experience, so I can't imagine what that's like. But are they maybe just thinking in their mind, you know what? Well, maybe it's easier if I say I'm trans. That means somebody made a mistake. God made a mistake. I was born in the wrong body. I can't
Right.
be gay. I must be trans. So if all these kids now think they're trans, what happens to just being gay?
Exactly. That's I love the way you put that too, because like I've never really thought about it at that perspective, but now that you've said that, it's kind of making me think like I kind of understand that, because growing up, my mom, even my family, like my own personal family, like I'm very close with my family now, but back even in the 2000s, like being gay wasn't like, no one really cared, but it was a jokey thing. Like everyone would joke about it, or like, say ha 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 homo, or ha 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 you little fruitcake, or whatever. But like stuff like that was normal. Even gay people didn't care about it. And I think that like, high school, it's one thing, like everyone's immature. Like I got bullied, I got called, the F word, like it happened, like yeah, whatever. But I think that also, like for gay people, it kind of gave us like that hardness to our skin, to where we don't really care what people think. And even if it's messed up, it's one thing. But I think with the erasing of gays and women, it doesn't make sense. Like for example, like men can't get pregnant. Okay, it's not possible. I don't care what any doctor tells you.
Hmm.
They're liars, and they're getting paid by the Democrats. Even when you change your sexual identity, if you look under a microscope and look at their blood cells and look at their genetics, they're still masculine. Even if you change into a woman, your blood and stuff is still masculine or feminine, or whatever sex you were born as. So I don't understand the whole like, oh, and then the whole like, you already know what I'm about to go off of. Is like, oh well, trans women are better at being women than biological women. I've seen that all over TikTok, and it disgusts me. It makes me vile. It makes me want to puke, because as someone who is, now I'm not gonna like say I'm an extreme feminist. But I am more on the female side when it comes to women empowerment, female rights, stuff like that. And I've marched in DC and Cleveland multiple years to support women's rights. And I think that they're trying to do it because it's men becoming women. You don't ever hear about women becoming men that have a problem. You never hear about the trans men speaking out, wanting rights. It's weird to me because it's only the trans women, and that makes it. And now it's trans women that are in Tampax commercials. There's trans women that are using panties, and now there's trans women on male swim teams or women's swim teams. They're trying to literally take out our entire, like, I don't know, like, system of male and female and make it something that it's not right or even scientifically okay to do.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not a feminist at all. Obviously I care about women's rights, but I think
I
feminism
wouldn't
is
say I'm a
different.
feminist. I don't know what's the word because I don't want to, like, because I know feminists are extreme. I just think that women deserve to a little bit more respect because number one, they do give birth to life, and I do think that women are, in just my personal opinion, I just have more love for women because women have always been more supportive towards me. I wouldn't say
Mm.
I'm a feminist because I'm not like extreme, but you know what I'm saying. Sorry, sorry.
Well, and feminists didn't always used to be that way. Like the first, strain of feminists, it was about women's rights, and then it
Right.
became man hating.
Political,
So
exactly.
once like this newest crop of feminists came out, it's just like hate the patriarchy basically, and
Yeah, and
and,
I
and
I don't
putting
hate
men
men.
down.
I just, I want women to be able to be treated like men. That's all I've ever wanted. I want women to not I don't want people to look at, "Oh, because you're a woman, you can't do my job." I would never ever think that. But that's from the aspect I'm more like, well, women deserve to make just as much as a man. If she can do the same exact thing, she should make the same exact money. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. Yeah. Generally speaking, women choose different types of jobs. So that whole argument about the pay gap is a little bit difficult because women are choosing different professions. But if you were to look at, maybe lawyers, a woman and a man are both can be really amazing lawyers. So I
Exactly.
would expect in that kind of profession you would be getting paid the same. But you can't expect that a nurse is going to get paid the same as a, I
Cashier at
don't
McDonald's.
yeah, or something
Right.
like that. But that being said, I do truly believe in, gender roles and as well. And I think the biggest thing with the whole feminist thing that I don't understand is, okay, so you're for women's rights, but here you are championing the patriarchy, infiltrating our gender, taking over women's sports, taking over,
Yeah.
like, even when what's her name, Caitlyn Jenner got Woman of the Year, like, after he had been a woman for like 30 days or something. And it's like, good Lord, like that should have gone to a
Yeah.
biological woman. But
Yeah. I
that
agree to that
it,
extent.
yeah, and I always struggle with, so my biggest thing is, and I do follow Blair White, and I actually like Blair White.
Okay,
I
I
think
like
Blair
Blair
White's
White
great.
too.
But Blair White obviously isn't trying to force everyone to say that she's a woman. See, I can even easily say she without even thinking. It's like I would have
Yeah.
to try to correct myself to
Because
not call,
because
because to
honestly, I
me
didn't even know
it's
she
a
was
girl.
trans. I didn't even know she was one of my followers like, "Yeah, she's," I'm like, "Really?" I didn't even know because 'cause I've seen her videos all the time. I love her. Never even knew, and I applaud her for speaking out and
And
standing
she's
up
not
for what
even
the
had
truth.
bottom surgery.
Really? I didn't know that.
No, no,
Wow.
she's only had top surgery, and I mean, I and didn't even do it until she was an adult. I can't remember what age. I want to say 18, 19.
That's
So,
a normal age. Yeah, that's a good age to do it.
well, yeah, I mean, they shouldn't be able to
As
do it
long as she's not a
any
child, yeah,
yeah.
like some of these weird people doing it right now.
Well, and I guess like my biggest thing on that is, I mean, I don't think that like children that don't even know what they want for breakfast should be choosing to be the other gender. I don't think they know even what it is. But I
Yeah,
keep saying to myself, what's going to happen in 10 to 12 years when these kids grow up? Now they're chemically castrated, essentially.
right.
They realize they grew out of this fad of wanting to be the other gender, and now they hate their parents because their parents didn't do the
Right.
one thing parents are supposed to do, and that's protect them and make
Yeah,
decisions for them because they just weren't to an age where they could understand how the impact that something like that would have on their life.
I completely agree. I mean, did you hear about in California that if you say that you're not allowing your child to transition, that they'll take your kid from you and put them in foster care? or
Yeah,
something.
I think there's another state. I'm from Maine originally, and I believe
Okay.
that Maine just made it so you can move to Maine and become a ward of the state if your parents will are denying you gender affirming care.
Wow.
So
Huh.
there's other states that are going to probably start to follow suit, but obviously,
Ohio won't. Huh.
yeah, Florida won't either.
Yeah,
But
Ohio. That's one of the reasons why I don't really want to move Ohio is because I'm like, I mean, they're not going to allow that. Like, they do not want. Yeah, no, they're a very Republican state, and I love it because I don't want to live in no Democrat ran state. They don't even know how to deal with money. Why would I trust them with my life?
yeah, I know. I mean, well, in crime too is just escalated to such an extent.
Oh, I know.
I'm about
I would
ready
hate to
to.
be a cop right now. I mean, I back the blue. I get hate canceled for that all the time, but I, 100% support the troops, but I feel bad for them. Like, they have to deal with some really messed
Mhm.
up people, and the amount of disrespect I've seen cops, even in real life, get from just normal bystanders is just very upsetting. And I think that because of what this woke propaganda has pushed, they've made this false perception of what police are, and everyone assumes that all policemen are bad because there's been a few bad apples, and I hate that because it's not true.
You hit the nail on the head that because there's going to be a few bad apples in every profession. It doesn't matter what you do, whether you're a
Right.
doctor, a lawyer, a hairstylist, there's going to be some nasty, evil people in every single profession because that's humanity.
Exactly.
But to, I like call the whole entire group rotten because of a few is absolutely absurd. But I know in Florida, we are actually offering a bonus for anyone that wants to come from another state. Like if you're leaving a
Wow.
Democrat state to join the police force here, DeSantis is offering like bonuses and things. So I
Wow.
think you're going to start to see a lot of Republican states do that because of the mass exodus of
Right.
police forces in a lot of Democrat, which is fine because
Right.
they want more crime anyway, it seems. So,
Right. I mean, yeah, it's working for him, I guess.
well, I wouldn't say it's working for him, but it is a specific agenda, I feel like.
They don't know what agenda they're pushing because they don't even know what they're talking about half the time.
Well, I think they do have an agenda. It's just really difficult to see what it is, and even people that have common sense, their agenda and their arguments seem to be lacking basic common sense. So it just seems
Oh
like
yeah.
how can you even like grasp what they're trying to do? All right, so you kind of mentioned it earlier with Bud Light, but it seems that corporations are like pushing this extreme like social
Life.
justice and down our throats and going woke. Why do you think that this is happening? And do you think this is helping, hurting, and what can we do about it?
So, like I said earlier, with how I was feeling like, companies are just using Pride Month as an example of profiting off of people's happiness. I agree with the extent, like, for example, I work for Signet Jewelers, which is like the second biggest diamond company in the world. They own Kay's, Sales, Jared's, all of it. So I work in the diamond and gold business. Well, me and my boss saw this Pride stuff. We had never had clicked on it before, but we clicked on it and they had like pronoun in gold and like trans rights and say queer and shit that like I was like disturbed. Even my boss were like, wow. And it's crazy because I personally feel like these companies feel like they can get more money if they push what the government's wanting them to push. Like they're all I just firmly believe that it's just all part of the plan. Like they want everyone to accept this weird ideology of that anyone can be whoever they want when that's not scientifically okay or even just morally okay. And so these companies are realizing like, well, if the government's pushing it, then I can make money off of it because the most people that are dumb are going to do anything the government says. So they're making millions of dollars off of people supporting it. But I think that it's damaging our country because, I mean, like I said earlier, Bud Light, they tried doing it. They lost $7 billion their first week. Nike's stakes went down when they did that whole Dylan Mulvaney thing. People, Americans as a whole, are tired of people forcing things down our throat. If you look at our country's history, it's always something been forced. Something was forced down our throats, and we're tired of it. If we're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be a free country, then we shouldn't have to care about what Sally's doing with her private parts on her own personal accord. I don't want to know about that, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to see it either. Do whatever you want, just don't push it down my throat. Don't wave it in my face like America. And I think that's why America was like, no, we're not drinking Bud Light. We're not doing this. And like nobody wants to see that. And these companies are realizing now after they lost billions and millions of dollars that that's not what they're supposed to do because that's not what they're supposed to make what they're making. Beer is supposed to bring people together. It's not supposed to get political. Every company is getting political and they're missing out because they're losing all of their credibility. They're losing their support. People are tired of it.
Well, we definitely need to stand up, but the issue is these companies care more about their social credit score because that's going to matter in the future. Right
Right.
now, it's just they're just beginning this whole social credit score thing. But that when you were talking about the plan is, in the end, everybody will have this social credit score. So when Bud Light did this, because they didn't come out and apologize to their base, which was the people they offended,
Yeah, it was
but
some
they
shitty
wouldn't
like yeah.
well, they
Wasn't it
didn't
like some
continue to pander to the other side either. So they got a hit on their social credit score because they didn't stand up for the LGB community when everybody started to ban them. So that being said, they like right now it seems crazy that they're doing this, and you're seeing company after company after company do it,
right.
and you're going, I don't understand why they're doing this. Did they not see what happened with Bud Light? It's because they're looking into the future where this social credit score is going to matter, and that's why they're doing it anyway.
Really involved in the community. Why should I be involved in a community that doesn't support me? I mean,
Yeah, that's
the
true. So
second they find out
probably
I'm a Republican, it's like 99.9% of the LGBT community is going to banish me and shun me just because I voted for Trump. I mean, so for me personally, I don't support it. I don't have no desire to support any of that. Like, you can do whatever you want. Congratulations, but I keep me out of it, you know?
yeah,
It's just not something I
absolutely.
don't yeah, I went to Capitol Pride last year. It was fun. It was a good experience, but it was my one-time experience. I'll never do it again. And it just there's a lot of weird things that I saw that I just don't want to ever see again or have to put up with. And some of the things I saw were very disturbing and very like because I don't I'm a Christian, so there's some things even as a gay person that like I think are a little excessive.
Mhm.
And there was a lot of demonic stuff that I've been seeing with the LGBT community like I can't support I can't support that. Like you're not going to disrespect my God. Like you're not going to respect him like that. Disrespect him like it's not okay. Like they'll learn. They'll learn. They'll learn when it's Judgment's Day, but it's just disturbing that I've watched so many people in the LGBT community that have mocked Jesus Christ because I don't know who made it up and I
Well,
think you
those
know what I'm about to
nuns, did
say.
you see that with Dodger
No,
Stadium?
yes, in the trans the drag queens or something.
Yeah, they're drag queen, like they act like nuns, but they literally have like a Jesus on the cross, and then they're like stripping on him and such.
Wow.
It's deeply disturbing. But I think
Yeah,
we're
and
seeing this kind of Satan thing everywhere. It's not like just in the community, and like I know pride parades, excuse me, get a little crazy, but there's like
yeah.
I'm very like knowing that there's some pretty darn weird straight probably, like parties that go on and they do some in disgusting things, but my issue is just why the push for children to be there? Like why
Exa
such a push for that?
that was
I
one of
just
the
don't
things
get
that
it.
disturbed me when I was at Capitol Pride, and I remember being like asking my friends like, "Why are there children here?" Like this is like because for me looking if I had a kid, I would never take my kid around something like that because your kids are very impressionable, you know, and I know everyone probably knows that. So it's like why would you take a kid to something that's very inappropriate? If I don't want my kid seeing a naked man, it just shows the lack of parenting too, which is very scary. But for a lot of Americans the parenting just it sucks. I have watched kids disrespect I'm not gonna get started with that, but I just there's no moral standing or teaching when it comes to parenting anymore. These parents let their kids parent themselves and they're like the child. I don't get that. I no, like kids should listen to their mother and father, like but they don't.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of that is kind of the erasure of Christianity as well. They're trying to
And that was
um
and I wanted to yeah,
cut
because you know you can't in school, you can't talk about God. I got in trouble. I got in trouble for wearing a cross, and my mom had to like call the school and be like, "Bro, like he's allowed to practice his religion." Like, what the
but you can
hell?
wear a rainbow t-shirt, can't you?
Right, right, exactly. And crazy how you can't talk about God, but our country was based on God.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
do you understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
we have
Like, there,
Judeo-Christian values, whether people want to
right.
accept it or not.
George
It's true.
Washington, Abraham Lincoln were Christians.
Mhm. Yeah,
Like,
it's baffling. There's definitely, I think, a down. downfall of society is kind of happening, an erosion of society,
Oh
so to
yeah.
speak. So, do you think that you got more hate coming out as a conservative than you did coming out as gay?
I love you, and I love that question. I honestly have gotten a billion times more hate being a conservative than ever coming out. I have lost friends, families, jobs, sponsorship. My whole life had to restart. I had to build my life entirely back up from start to finish because of becoming a conservative. Me saying Trump 2024 completely destroyed my life, but I don't care because I picked it back up and I'm
Mm.
back and I'm thriving. And I think that the internet owes people like me and you an apology, but we're never going to get it. And I don't really care. But it's just like, you know what? It sucks, but I'm not going to stop fighting for my freedom and for the America's freedom. It's just a time. It's honestly scary and shocking. You know, like me and my boss are like very like on the same like conservative level. Like, so we always talk about it. And it's just scary that this is the country we live in because it's like, what about our children? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, why would you bring a kid into this world right now? I wouldn't. And it's scary because it's like they're trying to take away our children, they're trying to take away our freedom, they're taking away our voice. They're taking away our right to even like eat real meat because now there's synthetic meat. Like
Oh
even
yeah,
that
do not
sub
eat
thing that
that.
went absolutely not. I don't even like meat. I will go completely vegetarian if I have to. Like I do not care. But like
I just think there's a lot of evil and a lot of evil
oh there is.
people.
There is 100% of a lot of evil people and there's a lot of evil people in power.
Yeah, and the evil people in power that have this plan. So one thing I wanted to mention earlier when we were talking about the whole trans thing, and you're like, I just don't get like why they want to go after the kids and who would want to bring a child into this world. Well, the
Sex
answer
traffickers.
is it's population control. They want to terrify. That's why all these kids like Gen Z. I don't know if you're actually part of Gen Z or not, or if you're
I am.
below.
I was
Okay.
born 2001.
So
Unfortunately, I'm
they
a
have like scared the shit out of you guys so that you think climate change is going to basically like kill the earth in the next 10 years. So why would you have children, right? All of these
right,
things are doing this with this movement is sterilizing kids or making them infertile. If they don't even go to the place of actually chopping any parts off, just doing all
right,
the hormones and such is going to possibly leave them unable to have children if they decide to detransition, excuse me. And
right.
I really think ultimately the whole goal is population control.
I believe that.
I think the whole point of all of it really is to divide because, you know, the old cliche saying that united we stand, divided we fall. So that's where we are. And they're using these extremely polarizing topics, whether it's the trans issue or it's abortion or the border, whichever one that people can really like attach themselves to a not moderate position. Because I don't like right at this point, if you disagree with all those things, then you're considered some crazy extremist. But I've taken a political compass test and I'm just right of center. So,
Yeah, that's me
with that
too.
being
I
said,
have,
if you don't agree, you're automatically some right wing nutcase QAnon freak. And it's like, no, I don't
yeah,
believe in any of that QAnon crap. Like, but you're putting me
yeah,
in
I
the
don't.
same category as them.
Because and it's crazy too because we're just standing for facts. And I think that that's another scary thing too is they're trying to change history and science.
I don't
Hey,
believe Biden is for trans and all this stuff. I'm sorry, but
he's
I don't
not.
believe an 80 something year old man really believes in all that crap. He's just told he has to
Yeah,
say
no.
it, so he does.
No.
I think the only person that's going to get us out of what's going on right now is going
Trump.
to be Trump because we have corruption very deep on both sides. It's called the Uniparty. They're both working together. And the only politicians that we need in office right now are the ones that are not part of that. And that's like basically the Freedom
Exactly.
Caucus
Right.
are opposed to this whole Uniparty thing. And when you're part of that, like that's a globalist. That's like all these like whether it's Soros or Bill Gates
Right.
or they're all globalists. We need
Yeah,
the,
I don't
people
yeah,
that
we need
are
people that are for
America
the country.
first.
Yeah, and that's
Yes,
why
and
I think a
that's
lot of
going to be Donald Trump.
yeah, and I love him, and I think that I've gotten so much hate, like people are like you're in love with this man that like doesn't even like you, blah blah blah. And I'm like, that's not true. Like, I love Trump. I think that he has been one of the greatest American presidents that we've ever had. I think that he's also been maybe the most, uh, what's the word, falsely accused president of all time, because I
Hmm.
think, and because I think you might agree with me on this, is they only want to lock him up because he knows the truth. He has the power, and like Trump said in his own words, it's Trump standing in front of the government protecting us. We're behind
Yeah.
Trump. He's standing in front of us. And that's why they want to lock him up, is because they know that if they can get rid of him, that there's no one else in the world that could take back the country the way Trump could. And they're terrified. Biden
Or
literally
want
said in
to.
it,
They don't want to.
yeah, and that's literally, Biden was literally like, oh yeah, we gotta lock him up. We gotta make sure he can't get president. Like, Biden, you're gone. Like, America's over. Even if Trump doesn't win, you're not being president. You're not winning another 4 years. And if you do, that's how America will know that our election system is fraudulent, because not a damn person is going to vote for that man. Even when he had his little rally, those were paid people. That little fucking high school booth, come on now. Those are paid people that you paid probably out the ass to sit there and act like they supported him. But when you that same place when the same place that 3 weeks later when Trump spoke there, sold out, same crowd,
No.
packed, not a seat open, because
Wow.
that shows the power of the American people, and where the American people who really, that's what that shows, where the American people stand is with Trump. I
I
firmly believe
agree,
he's going to
but
win.
it saddens me to say there actually are some people that will vote for Biden and think that he's actually doing a good job. I know I've talked to them on TikTok,
Oh
and
God. Oh
they really
God.
truly believe that he is doing a better job. And it's just like, even like, I feel like, okay, look at your pocketbook, look at your bank account. Like, that alone right there, you would think most of America would not be able to say this man
Right.
is doing a great job, but they must be people that are unaffected by those things. Maybe they're wealthier. They're people that they can care more about the social justice issues because it doesn't matter. They're not going to go broke. But your regular
Right.
middle of the road, middle class folks, the pain is of the pocketbook, that, and they're going to vote for somebody that's going to change that for them. And it's not going to be Joe Biden. It's only going to get
Yeah.
worse under his presidency. So,
Yeah. That's what we have to keep informing people. And that's honestly why I got back on TikTok after I got banned the last time, was because I knew that the closer it got to the election, I knew that I could play a big part speaking up, educating people, showing people that it's okay to have different beliefs than what the norm is. It's okay to not agree with what society agrees with. You don't have to. And I think that that's why people are watching my videos too, is because, like we were saying earlier, is like, I'm not like, when you look at me, you think, oh, he's a liberal. He ain't no damn Republican, because that's the ideology that the narrative that they've created for gay people. They think all gay people are going to be woke
mhm.
and weird and liberal. But that's not who I am, and I want people to just not even like I don't even care if they like my makeup. I just want people to listen to what I'm saying, or at least, or even if you don't believe me, just, well, why would he say that? Let me educate myself. Let me go on Google. Let me go to a factual, get me some sort of evidence or fact to maybe understand why he's saying that. And then they're gonna realize, like, wow, he's right. What I've been told is a lie. And then they start thinking and start educating. And then we're starting to do this little chain reaction where more and more people are waking up. More and more people are realizing what's going on in our country is not right. We have to stand up. People have to remember, in the Constitution, it says we the people have the power to overthrow the country government
Mhm.
if the government has no longer has the people's interest. When has the government had the people's best interest? It's been a long fucking time coming. We need
It
to
has.
stand up and overthrow them. We have the power to do
Look how that
stretch,
worked out for us
but
last time, you know? I want you to
oh,
walk
I
me
was just
through,
saying,
like, your
I said,
prediction.
I just hope it happens for us,
2024.
because it's gonna be spectacular. It's gonna be a show. Yes, it is. I do believe that he's going to win the presidency in jail, and then he's just going to get himself out. Like, I think he's just gonna pardon himself out. Yeah, I think he's just gonna pardon himself out and then be back in the way out. I was like, what? I do believe that he will win, even if he goes to jail. I think he's just gonna skyrocket up with the polls, and it's gonna be a mass landslide, and he's gonna pardon himself the second he wins. Um, but if he doesn't get locked up in time, they're not gonna lock me up. No, they're not. I think that he's gonna win the presidency in a landslide. I do think it's gonna be a landslide.
We have to win by a
Yeah,
landslide or we won't stand it.
think we will, though. I've seen it. I've seen it all over. I've seen the support for Trump. Like, yeah, 2020 was one thing, but this election is going to be different. Like, I think
Right,
America is
just turn
just
the news
fucking
off.
tired of Biden. I think America knows, and most of America is remembering, like, yeah, like Trump's mouth gets him in trouble. Yes, he has a bad mouth, whatever. Maybe he's not the best speaker ever,
Mhm.
but the man knows how to work an economy. The man knows how to run a fucking country. And that's what we have to give him his flowers for. Republicans right now are putting their bad stuff behind and realizing that we need to get our country together because we keep it up, there's not going to be a country left to fight for. Trump says African American, and he pauses. He's like African American.
No,
But
no,
yeah,
no,
like
go
I
ahead.
probably laugh because he's so funny.
Okay, moving on to 2024 picks.
Well, I woke up this morning to the same president we had the day before, so that's a huge fucking letdown.